We are going to, the next talk is with KPMA. I just wanted to make sure that they're in the room before I speed past the magnet. Hannah, I see you. Is Lisa's here? Okay, wonderful. So we will jump into KPMA's session update for 2023. And that again is with the new executive director for KPMA, Lisa Christensen, and Hannah McDougall, which is the field specialist for Klondike Placer Miners Association.
Hi, I'm Lisa Christensen, new Executive Director for the Klondike Placer Miners Association. Today I'd like to share with you a little bit about what the KPMA has been up to this past year. Before I do, I just want to quickly thank the Ta'an-Quachin Council and the Kwanlin First Nation for hosting us on their traditional territories today. I'd also like to congratulate you all and thank you for making it to the last day of Geoscience. It's my first one, definitely a marathon, but in a good sense. Okay, so let me figure out this clicker here. There we go. So for those of you unfamiliar with the KPMA, we provide leadership on and advocacy for responsible and sustainable placer mining to the benefit of our operators, the environment, and the communities we're a part of. We represent approximately 200 family-owned and operated placer mines in the Yukon. The majority are located in the Dawson area. Now, placer gold is not a critical mineral in the usual sense of the term, but the industry has survived over the last 125 years, and it does have a stabilizing effect on our economies and related industries like the mine supply industry, the tourism industry, and it supports vibrant rural livelihoods and communities like Dawson. Many of you who know us know that we value community, family, environmental stewardship, ingenuity, and hard work. Our most recent election saw the same slate of directors and leadership re-elected from their peers in September this year. We do a lot of work building relationships in the communities we work in. This list shows just a few of the things we supported this year, including some sponsorships to the local school and museum and other local events. We've also been exploring possible community training programs in the trades with the Center for Northern Innovation in Mining and Yukon University. A few highlights from this year shown on the screen, which I'll touch on in the next few slides, and then I'll pass things off to one of my colleagues to elaborate on our Yukon 125 funded project. This picture here shows a few of the KPMA staff kids. As placer mining is a family-based industry, it's okay to bring your kids to work, which is really great. And we believe that representing the industry means regularly visiting mine sites to connect, learn about things going well, and challenges that our operators face. So our team tripled in size this year from 1 to 3, which was a big deal for Brooke Rudolph, who worked for 4 years on her own as ED. Today, I'm the ED. Hannah McDougall is our field specialist. She's also a 4th-generation placer miner, and Brooke is advisor to the board. She's also an excellent jackhammer operator and photographer. All the photos in this presentation were taken by her this season. The 41st annual KPMA barbecue was held this past August, and it was a great success, thanks to all the miners, family and friends, event sponsors that helped us set up, run, and take down the event. The dunk tank, which you could see in the far upper right corner here, was built with ingenuity by one of our miners, Marty Knudsen, and it was a real hit. Even Minister Stryker went for a swim. So Hannah led our industry tours this season, and the purpose of these tours is to help organizations, governments, and others learn more about our industry firsthand. So if you are interested in booking a tour for a group, please get in touch with the office. We'd be happy to organize one for you. Art and mining merged together this summer when the KPMA worked with Yukon University School of Visual Arts in Dawson on some creative and functional work in the goldfields using reclamation and regrowth in art. This summer, the KPMA kids and their parents were very lucky to have a personal tour of the new Beringia Center and its amazing exhibits, featuring many specimens provided by placer operators from the Klondike. Thanks again to Dr. Elizabeth Hall, one of YG's paleontologists, for that memorable tour. This summer, the KPMA worked with the Yukon Bureau of Statistics to further explore some economic data that was gathered about the industry from 2018 through 2021. This work will be shared out soon, so please watch our website and the KPMA newsletter for that. I'll just quickly touch on one of the findings, which is that the regulatory environment was identified as one of the most pressing concerns for operators' viability going forward. The KPMA was honored to be invited to attend and participate in the discussions around a national policy framework around wetlands in Ottawa earlier this month. Brooke attended this event, and her take-home message was that the Yukon is so much better situated environmentally, socially, and legislatively than most of Canada, and so we need to celebrate this as a win. A big milestone reached earlier this year was our submission of new mining legislation. The submission was made with the signature of over 280 miners who requested that their names be added to it after reading, reviewing, and commenting on the document. So thanks to the placer miners that contributed to this work, and to Brooke for orchestrating this epic submission. We look forward to continuing this important work. The scenario workshops held this year as part of development of the Dawson Regional Recommended Plan were very helpful to all the parties involved in this process in terms of understanding more about how the plan would actually work in practice. So again, with this one too, the KPMA looks forward to more future engagement on this to ensure the plan is something we can all use right out of the gate. All right, other regulatory work. The list is long. Lots of engagements and acronyms going on at the moment with critical outcomes. We're really grateful for the opportunity to be involved in these engagements, as it does recognize the practical knowledge the industry has, which can help us ensure successful implementation of policy and regulation to the benefit of our local economies and communities. Okay, and we've officially developed 13 modules for KPMA 101, which is our app-based training and compliance education program for placer miners, by placer miners. And we've developed these in partnership with many content partners. These modules can be accessed with free purchase of a KPMA membership. One that you will see very soon, as it's in the final editing stages, is the Together Today for Our Children Tomorrow module, which was developed in partnership with our content partner, Yukon Council of First Nations. We're excited to provide the membership with more context on the umbrella final agreement and self-governance in the Yukon. And now I'm going to pass it over to Hannah McDougall to share with you 2 exciting community-based projects we have on the go right now. All right.
Thank you, Lisa, and hello, everyone. Hannah McDougall here. I'm the field specialist for the Klondike Placer Miners Association. I've been working on digital mapping, drone surveying, leading the field tours, as was mentioned, and spending a lot of time on this really fun project. The project title is 125 Years of Gold. This is still in the works, so this is not a overall summary, and there's still a lot more to come, but I just want to share with you a brief overview of some themes that have come up along the way, accompanied with some photos and quotes from my work this summer. So, 125 Years of Gold. I'd first love to thank the Yukon Historical Museum Association's 125 Fund for providing a portion of the funding, and also the Dawson City Museum for their very enthusiastic partnership. The overall goal of this project is to celebrate and reflect upon 125 years of gold in the Yukon. In order to do this, we really wanted to focus on the contemporary placer gold community, and we wanted to provide some insight from the perspective of the community into the culture and the practices of those people. There's a lot out there now on the placer gold community from the perspective of reality TV, and we are surrounded by the legacy and the culture and the visuals of the gold rush in the Yukon, especially in the areas where placer gold still exists today. So in order to do this, we wanted to gather as many different kinds of media as possible sourced from the community in order to represent their perspectives. There are two specific outcomes associated with this project. The first will be an exhibit in the Dawson City Museum, set to open summer 2024, which is very exciting. This will be an immersive exhibit that aims to replicate the feeling of being in a placer camp and a placer mine site. So it'll be a small-scale replication of that, and it'll include commissioned art pieces that we've gathered as part of this project, and a little bit of content that came from my site visits this summer. The second outcome will be a KPMA 50th anniversary book featuring interviews, photographs, and local art as well. As the KPMA approaches its 50th anniversary next year, we felt this was a great opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate individuals that have pushed forward positive change in the industry. So with that, I'd like to share a little bit of content from my site visits this year. As I said, all of the media was sourced from the community, so this consisted of visiting miners on their sites, conducting interviews, taking lots and lots of photographs, collecting video footage. And over the course of the summer, as I was doing these visits, there was some repetitive themes that emerged. So I want to share a little bit of those with you today. The first theme is innovation and technology. A common trait among all placer miners, one that really you need to survive in the industry, is creative problem solving. And throughout the years, particularly the most recent 50 years, there's been countless examples of new techniques, new technologies that have been brought to the community or invented by individuals within the community that allowed for more efficient gold recovery, better reclamation practices, and more efficient production all over in general. So you see here a few examples of that. There are conveyors that were designed by a miner, Adrian Hollis, and there are some examples of techniques that were brought over from miners from New Zealand, panel mining and this style of sluice. And you have an accompanying quote here that says, "Trying different things and learning from other miners is fun." And that points to the role of community in fostering innovation and technology and allowing these techniques to spread across the entire industry. History and storytelling. My favorite part about the placer gold community is that there's a real sense of closeness to history, whether it is finding Ice Age bones in your cut, old jeans from the gold rush, whether it's finding old-timers' shafts, or whether it's repurposing dredge powdered milk pails to grow your tomatoes in. Miners have learned how to use the past to support them. Another example of this is storytelling and oral histories. Another way miners utilize the history that surrounds them is by relying on the knowledge that is passed down to them by the people that came before them locally. And I have a quote here that says, "Industries dependent on storytelling, the history of the old timers passed down to dredge workers and then on to the next generation." So you can see in this photo here, this is the camp I grew up in on the left, where the past and the present come together to create something special. And I think this is something very unique to the placer gold community, to the placer gold industry. and something really special as well. And bringing that history into the present carries forward the legacy and continues that history. You can also see here the previous keeper of the grounds, someone who passed down a lot of local knowledge to my family. So, in these interviews, there was a few key questions I had that I would ask to everyone. And my favorite question to ask miners was, what is your advice to new placer miners? This was my favorite question to ask because it always gave very enthusiastic responses. So I'll let you read a few of those responses here. We have don't, think twice about it, don't bother, be careful, and don't come here. So I love to ask this question also because it then raises such an obvious burning question in my mind, which is then why do you do it? This is a painting that we have commissioned as part of this project by the local artist, Alain. And I think he did such a wonderful job of bringing in a lot of the themes and concepts that I'm talking about today and that will be part of this project also. So the next few slides will be in response to this question, why do you do it? And I think this is really at the heart of this project. The first is mystery and discovery. Humans have been deeply attracted to gold and to the search for gold for thousands and thousands of years. And so this would come up in my conversations too. And I got a lot of opinions and responses to why do we like gold so much? Why do we want it so much? Is it greed? Is it gold fever? Is it lust? Is it aliens? What is it? And I don't think we'll ever really know. I don't think there is one answer to this question, and maybe we don't need to know. And for that reason, this is one of my favorite quotes that came out of my interviews. It's not about the gold, it's about finding it. Family. Many, many miners will tell you that this is the best part of the lifestyle. You get to work with your kids, you get to raise your family, and you get to live an independent lifestyle. Most placer mines, the vast majority of placer mines, are owned and operated by families, and many of them have been in those families for generations. And I can tell you it's also a great way to grow up. That's a picture of me and my sister and my mom when I was just a little baby at our cookhouse at our camp on Glacier Creek. And that little fox that used to come visit us every once in a while. It's a chance to work and be alongside your kids at the same time, which is very unique. A way of life. Related to that, one thing that is really important to understand about the industry is that placer mining is not just a job for these miners. It's not just something to do to pay the bills. It is a way of life and it's a lifestyle. And that's what really attracts them to it. It's about the whole picture. And when you go to visit one of these placer camps, you aren't just visiting a mine site or a work site. You're coming into people's homes. You will see pets, you will see vegetable gardens, you will see beautifully manicured flower gardens, cookhouses full of freshly baked goods, and you will be very welcomed there. Camp was always home. Even New Zealand was just a place to live, like having a vacation home. Coming from a miner from New Zealand. The final theme is living and working with nature. This is a really, really big one. Most placer camps are pretty far removed from the nearest town or settlement. They are pretty remote. And because of that, miners have an intrinsic understanding of what it means to live on the earth. They have to generate their own energy, they have to source their own water, they must plan accurately the supplies they need, they must divert their own waste. And this gives a very deep understanding of the relationship that we have to the earth and the resources we need in order to survive. Also, when you are working outside, every single day there is no barrier between you and the elements. There's no barrier between you and the bears that peruse the same berry bushes you do. There's no barrier between you and the moose that enjoy your settling ponds, or the ducks, or the swallows that like to nest in the banks you create, or the beavers that you battle in your running water systems. There's a really intimate understanding of nature when you are living and working in it every single day. Best part about mining, always interacting with nature. Everything you do, you are thinking about nature. So that's all for my really quick summary of this project. This is just scratching the surface, and as I said, it's still in development. We're still working on this. We are still collecting information, talking to miners. So if you or anyone you know would be interested in participating, please reach out, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hannah and Lisa. Really well done. So at this point, I'd like to welcome you to lunch. We'd like to thank all of you for joining us here this morning. The lunch is provided by Takini River Ranch and generously sponsored by Associate Engineering. And when we come back, I will be emceeing the afternoon, hopefully on time today. And we'll have presentations on infrastructure and remediation. Thank you.